Good afternoon, everybody worldwide. Thank you for joining us today on this extraordinarily special day to truly regard the nature of entrepreneurship, the hearts and souls of great entrepreneurs and great small business owners growing exponentially in their imagination, their passion, their desire, their commitment to touch more and more and more people throughout the world, to discover what it means to become a creator, an imagineer, an extraordinary mover and shaker of the impossible, to do what we're all here, born, every single one of us, in the image of the Creator, with whom we have been participating all these years. This is Awakening the Entrepreneur Within. And the conversation today is the Declaration of Independence for every entrepreneur. I want to introduce my guests to you all. Every single one of them have accomplished such spectacular results in their lives that I'm truly grateful that they've come here to celebrate my 83rd birthday and the life and the passion for entrepreneurship that's driven them to do the astonishing things they've done. So first of all, I'm going to introduce you to Brian Scudamore, the founder, the creator of 1-800-GOT-JUNK. Second, I'm going to introduce you to Dr. Ivan Meisner, the founder of that great growing enterprise called BNI. Third, I'm going to introduce you to Roger Hamilton, who's joining us from way, way, way east of where every one of us are, who's founded and created an extraordinary entrepreneurial development system, the Institute for Entrepreneurship. I want to introduce you to Brad Korn. Brad Korn is my co-author of the E-Myth Real Estate Agent, which is going to be available to every single real estate agent on the planet, why most real estate agents don't work and what to do about it. The E-Myth Real Estate Agent. And of course, I want to introduce you to Carl Allen, who's joining us right now from Australia, but who's home based in London and has in fact been creating immense growth for many, many, many small businesses throughout the world. And I'm absolutely pleased and delighted to say that Carl told me personally that he's read the E-Myth Revisited 20 freaking times. Absolutely stunning. So Brian's got to run. And I just wanted to give Brian an opportunity to do something for each and every one of us that is every single entrepreneur's entitlement to do, but also responsibility to do. Brian started out exactly as each and every one of you have, by himself, all alone, doing it, trying to figure out where he was going. And I can absolutely guarantee you, Brian didn't know then that he'd be here now, having achieved the stunning results he's achieved. So Brian, I just simply want you to tell everybody this very simply. On our website, we say two things: every life a legacy, every small business a school. That means that right now, Brian, you have created a legacy, as every human being has. I want you to tell everybody here, what is the single most important thing you haven't done in your legacy that you're committed to do from this day forward? And what's the one most important thing you've done in your business, in your school, to teach something that's had a profound impact on everybody you work with? all of you, I'm going to ask all of you and each of you to do the very same thing. So Brian, do you mind responding?
Of course. No, happy to. First of all, I know we're not here to celebrate you, but we're also here to celebrate you and your leadership and all the gifts you've given all of us as entrepreneurs. So a big happy 83rd birthday, Michael Gerber. Always a fan, always a friend. The impact you've had on my business helped set a platform for me to grow and scale a new type of business school. Now, you're talking to a guy that failed out of high school, dropped out, and then talked his way into college only to do the same thing, start a business and learn a business on the streets versus studying in school. Now, every business a school, what does that mean to me? And what's the legacy I've already created? And what do I still have yet to create? I have created something on the basis of 1-800-GOT-JUNK and the 30-year success that we had. I said, how do we inspire others in other industries? So we created something we called O2E brands, which stands for ordinary to exceptional. We take ordinary people who might have the dream of business ownership, but don't know where to start, might not have an idea or a template. They partner with us as a franchise owner, and they might build out Shack Shine, our windows and gutter cleaning business, or maybe it's Wow One Day Painting, home painting in a day. Whatever brand they join with us, what our purpose and mission is to do is to help grow and inspire entrepreneurship. I think all of us are on this call with a similar purpose in life. We love the freedom from being an entrepreneur. We love the creativity. And I personally love building something bigger and better together. So my legacy might be that we've got almost a $500 million business currently with 4 brands across Canada, the United States, and Australia. But the real legacy is in the work that we have yet to do. I want to and will widen the network of people that we bring into the O2E Brands family. I know that we can help give systems and processes inspired by the E-Myth, of course, to help people build great lives, great businesses, and further the legacy of taking care of their people. We run a business a very different way than many companies do, in that we truly put our people first. The belief in a very systemic type way. I know you're such a big fan of systems, and so am I. If we take care of our people, they will take care of the customer. If we take care of the customer, they will take care of our brands, our growth, our opportunity. And so that's our machine, is doing things that are normally ordinary in a very exceptional way, and love the life that I'm building and that we're inspiring others to join our cause and build along with us.
Thank you, Brian. That was brilliant. I absolutely love what you do and how you think about what you do. It brings me to the thought about AI that everybody talks about. Everybody talks about the machine, the machine, the machine, the machine. But what they leave out is what you exactly just spoke to about the people. So understand that AI is artificial intelligence. And everybody's so fascinated with artificial intelligence, they don't understand that it's quickly creating artificial lives. The last thing every single entrepreneur on this panel today is interested in is artificial lives. And so you spoke to it brilliantly, and I thank you for that. And thank you so much for joining us here. I know Luz Delia invited you pretty much late in the game, even though we knew you were going to be here, but you had other meetings you had to go to.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I can make it. Happy birthday. Thank you, Liz and Luz, and thank you to all of you. And have a wonderful celebration. Enjoy the rest of the call, and have an awesome one.
Thank you, Brian. Take care.
Thank you. Okay, you too.
Bye-bye. And hello, Luz Delia Gerber. Oh, there she was for a moment, and she disappeared. So Dr. Ivan Meisner, you heard my conversation. Please share with everybody who's on the call with us what all of that means to you. Every life a legacy, every small business a school, related to BNI, who you are, what you've done, how you've done it, starting out in your own kitchen with 2 people you talked about, and suddenly, all these years later, worldwide. Please speak to it.
Well, suddenly, I tell people I'm a 20-year overnight success. It took 20 years to build this business. But I got to tell you, I built this business, BNI, to a large part because of you, Michael. And so I'm so happy to celebrate your birthday today. The E-Myth really taught me how to work on the business and not just in the business. It taught me how important systems were and processes. And so you absolutely changed my life. I, for decades, have been saying to people, you got to pick up the E-Myth if you want to really have a successful business. And so I read it in the early mid 80s when it came out, and it obviously helped a lot.
No, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. So legacy. So here's my thoughts on legacy. I really believe that your life is your legacy, and there's a quote that I have lived by, or really believed in for most of my life, and it's from Jean-Paul Sartre, and he says, "We all die too soon or too late, and yet our life is complete at that moment, with a line drawn neatly under it, ready for the summing up. We are our deeds in life and little more." And so that's why I say I think one's life is one's legacy. I've tried to have a life of helping business people build their business through the mechanism of networking. Our philosophy, our vision statement is changing the way the world does business. And our mission is to do that by helping people increase their business through a structured, positive, supportive referral marketing platform. Last year, the organization passed 11.2 million referrals. We generated $14.2 billion with a B, $14.2 billion worth of business for our members all around the world. Now, just so you know, 14.2, and I think I probably told you this, Michael, $14.2 billion is more than the gross domestic product of the country of Liechtenstein. I know it's a small country, but still, how cool is that?
And I never would have known that. I never would have
generate that much business. I'm looking for a bigger country next year, but this would not happen. You see, you've had a ripple effect on people because what you've done, I read, I integrated into my business, and so you get part of that credit for helping people around the world generate billions of dollars worth of business because I used your concepts to create BNI. So for that, I thank you so very much, Michael.
Ivan, thank you very much. You know, when you speak about that, I had the thought, in fact, this morning, and it was related to what everybody knows here as the Big Bang. The Big Bang, which obviously was the moment in which the universe was created. And of course, all of the scientific thoughts about the Big Bang never really address what happened before the Big Bang. E.g., it supposedly goes from nothing to something. You understand? And nothing goes from nothing to something, ever, anywhere, including here in this universe of ours. Therefore, what was here before something? And the great driving question, what was here before the Big Bang, must have included the Big Bang, 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 the Big, simultaneously as our universe is expanding, as Ivan, your universe is expanding, as Brian's universe is expanding, as my universe is expanding, as all of our universe is expanding, meaning our universe within this universe, and on and on and on and on. What was there before we were here? So when you speak about that and Sartre, when you speak about being and nothingness, when you speak about the philosophical tenets underlying the passion that you've felt and delivered and expressed in everything that you've done, it just awakens those absolutely most important questions that every single one of us have to be moved by. Every single one of us must be moved by. That's why we've called this the Declaration of Independence of Entrepreneurs. That's why we've called this rewriting the Declaration of Independence for small business owners and entrepreneurs. That's what we literally intend to do and are inviting each and every one of you to participate in doing. Because at the center of all this is I am. I am. And who knows what I am is, are, will be, and so forth and so on. And that's the whole conversation about entrepreneurship that you just spoke to, Ivan. And I truly appreciate your telling us that.
Well, this is my pleasure. And thank you so much for everything you do, Michael. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Ivan. A delight. And so our next guest, Roger Hamilton, I believe. And Roger is the Institute of Entrepreneurship. And he's joining us from Bali. Roger?
Hi there. How are you today? And good afternoon or good morning from where I am. And a big happy birthday to you, Michael.
Well, thank you very much, Roger. Please share with everybody, as we've forced each of the folks before you to do, please share what your life's legacy would be right now if you passed. And if you had a moment to correct it, what is the one thing that would be most important for you to do? And what do you teach? The most important thing you teach in your business school?
Fabulous. Well, the first thing I'll just share is if we go right back to the beginning of the E-Myth, which I think was 1986, it was my first year at university at Cambridge, where I was actually studying to be an architect at the time. And it was, I really think E-Myth was the very first book I read on entrepreneurship at a time when people weren't even talking about entrepreneurship or what an entrepreneur was. And so that inspired me on the journey that I've been on pretty much ever since. And that goes right into your question about legacy. One of the people that I got inspired by in Cambridge, who also was an architect, his name was Buckminster Fuller. And Bucky's whole ethos is that we have to leave a legacy. We have to live as a legacy because we are in what he called a final exam, which is where, because of the growth and the acceleration of technology, it is growing so quickly, we are in a place where we could either solve all the world's problems with that technology, which would mean we pass the exam, or we wouldn't, which means that we would fail the exam. And he said the reason we haven't really made the most of technology to solve all the world's problems is because of human consciousness and our inability to be able to really rise our human consciousness at the same level that we are seeing technology rise at. So for me, the first part, which is what would I do different, or in terms of where we're at, I right now, within our Entrepreneurs Institute and also our Genius U platform, am overseeing just over 1 million entrepreneurs around the world who are all focusing at the 17 United Nations Global Goals. And the 17 United Nations Global Goals, which are all set to be hit, if we can hit them by 2030, is the replacement to what happened in the millennium, which was the 8 Millennium Goals. And we didn't hit them. We hit a couple of them, like things like, cutting down by half poverty in the world, or cutting down the number of people that didn't have clean water. There was some that we did really well on, but the vast majority, we didn't collaborate more effectively to actually make those happen. So if there was one big area where I would say we have not left the legacy we want, it's in what we're seeing in the news today about what's happening to the environment, is in the movements we're seeing out there, that we still have massive inequality. And I don't see just that as a failure of mine. I say it's a failure of our entire generation. The next generation looks at what we do and say, well, couldn't you have done a better job? Couldn't you have been more conscious in the decisions you make? And it's still on a day-by-day basis. So on the one hand, the fact that we're not there yet is a regret. The fact that we are still with a little sliver of time to pass the final exam, I think that's the exciting part. And so my real commitment over the next 10 years is to make sure that we can do everything we can to play our part with entrepreneurs around the world to be able to achieve those 17 United Nations Global Goals. We are working with the United Nations to make that happen. And I'm really excited about that whole journey in the 10 years ahead. The 33 years from 1986 to now has passed so quickly, and being here celebrating your 83rd birthday right now is pretty incredible, realizing that 10 years goes by in a flash. Our ability now to really marshal the resources of all the entrepreneurs to be able to work collectively towards a common good, I think is the best, most meaningful thing we can do with our lives. On the second question, which is every entrepreneur themselves being a school with their small business, and what is it that I would say is the biggest thing that we do? I would go to a literal school, which is the Green School, which is a school here in Bali that was set up by John and Cynthia Hardy. And I took my kids to the Green School, which is all in nature. The whole concept is to actually really teach us what becomes the basis of entrepreneurship. You talk about the Declaration of Independence. A large part of the schooling system actually focuses on dependence. Like, how do you actually go about getting a job, which we know is a real challenge today if the jobs themselves keep changing. And to give you an example of the difference that I saw at the school, when I went there with the kids, I set up the board there. We really grew the school pretty dramatically. I was the chairman of the board there for about 3 years. And during that time, we really made sure the curriculum of the school was very different from any other school that's out there. And it's the same things that I see we teach within our entrepreneurial school as well, which is, as an example, paint and painting. When you go to a normal school, the issue is you learn dependency when you even do things like art, because you can't really get started unless you have the paints, the paintbrush, and the paper. What was really fascinating about how we did it at the Green School is you don't start with the paper and the paint. You start by asking the question, how can you make paper? Which you can make from powder, right? So the kids make the paper. How do you make paint? You want to make purple? You can use beetroot. So they use nature to make the paint. So they're actually learning full independence, where you can start from nothing and actually then create something when it's not really nothing, as you say, like the Big Bang is nature, but you're starting with all the resources already there and you're being sustainable about it. And then it teaches you self-sufficiency. So I would say that the three cores of this new renaissance we're in, this new independence, are number one, self-awareness, which is back to your whole concept of I am, and knowing who you are. So we have a whole bunch of different tools like the Wealth Dynamics test, the Genius test, the Purpose test to find your purpose. So first of all, self-awareness. Secondly, self-mastery, which is how do you become the best version of yourself? And then thirdly, self-expression, which is how do you then express yourself in your business in a unique way? And if you bring those three together, then you have a job for life. Because if a job is paid productivity, you're in trouble, because computers will always do a better job and robots will do a better job than you can do for productivity. But if you can actually see your job or your business as a means of paid self-expression, then always artificial intelligence, robots, computers can help you to express yourself more effectively if you know who you are. So for me, that is the biggest thing that we teach entrepreneurs and people who may not be entrepreneurs that become entrepreneurial by actually having those free tools. So that's it in a summary. And I just want to, again, finish by acknowledging you and the fact that you started by talking about systems, which I really see all around the world now being ecosystems. And I think it's just fantastic to see how your legacy has now reached so many different people. Just like Ivan, I myself was so impacted by the E-Myth, and it's in everything we do in the way that we share our story with the entrepreneurs in our community.
Well, I'm thrilled by all of that, Roger. Let me say also, it brings me back to what we have been doing and have launched with Radical You, and the first year of which we call the Dreaming Room. And effectively, we're inspiring people to begin anew with a blank piece of paper and beginner's mind. A blank piece of paper and beginner's mind. The dreamer, the thinker, the storyteller, and the leader. Inside coming outside, not outside, but inside, as you've just described, coming outside in a way that they've never experienced before. So the first year of the dream, the vision, the purpose, and the mission are our attempt to do exactly what you're talking about in that school, that you're bringing somebody inside of himself, herself, to discover who I am in the process of creating who I will be, in the process of discovering what my dream, my vision, my purpose, and my mission are. So thank you for that. It's absolutely brilliant. We'll talk more about Radical You so you can see how you can bring the dreaming room to all of your millions of people and watch with stunning realization the profound impact you're having on every single one of them. So thank you for joining us on my birthday.
And Michael, just want to say on that whole concept of what you're doing by bringing in archetypes, which really get connected to the universal. That's what Carl Jung, Joseph Campbell were really focused at saying that, we're the microcosm, the macrocosm. When we look inside, we see the whole universe. We're not the drop in the ocean, we're the entire ocean in the drop. And that that whole concept of actually us understanding the vision of who we can be, I think is so fantastic in the Dreamer Room, especially because we all have the same recall in our brains. But if we're focusing at memory, which is our past, which is what schools teach us to do, then we're constantly stuck in our past. But the moment we focus at vision, which is remembering the future you is the person you're meant to be, then, and all great entrepreneurs, they actually have a stronger vision than a memory. And just that whole concept of the fact that every single person, if they get tuned into their vision, they are so fast moving, not just to the person they want to be or should be, but actually the world that we all want to have or should have as well.
Yeah, and that's equally brilliant. I just wanted to describe to all of you that my brother-in-law, Marty Sklar, who's no longer with us, was the head of Disney Imagineering. Walt Disney brought Marty out of UCLA when Marty graduated and started him on the hot asphalt at Disneyland, which was brand new. Marty was responsible for opening every single Disney park around the world.
Wow.
And the thing that Walt said constantly, don't show me what I know. Don't show me what I do. Don't show me how we've done it. Don't show me how to improve anything. Show me something new I've never seen before. And the only way we can do that is to be challenged by a blank piece of paper and beginner's mind. And that's where this was inspired. And of course, it was inspired by Ray Kroc, and it was inspired by Steve Jobs, and it was inspired by, and equally inspirational for Ivan, for you, for Brian Scudamore, and for our next guest, Carl Allen, who has done some amazing things in his life. Carl, you've heard the story. Talk to us.
Wow. So I'm absolutely thrilled and honored to be joining you today with such a distinguished panel of other fellow entrepreneurs. And I first of all want to start by wishing you a absolutely phenomenal 83rd birthday. And you are somebody, one of only 3 people in my current life that have really changed how I think about the world, how I think about business, and to give me the tools and the vision to create what I'm in the middle of building right now. So I first read the E-Myth in 2008. I'd had a very good career as a Wall Street investment banker and deal maker. And I retired in 2008 at the age of 37 and decided I was going to do 2 things. So the first thing was to build a portfolio of small businesses. I'd had a great career buying and selling companies. But the missing piece for me was in acquiring a small business, how would I then make that business work? And the first couple of businesses I acquired spectacularly failed because I was going and working in those businesses, not on those businesses. So I was walking through the airport really kind of in a state of disarray, and I saw the E-Myth Revisited on the end of the book stand, and I bought the book and I read it on the plane. I read it 10 more times the following week just to really kind of understand what was going on. And it massively changed not only the way that I acquired businesses, but then how I could quickly systematize those businesses so that they could grow and then I could sell them. And once I'd mastered that process, I then started coaching and mentoring entrepreneurs all over the world to do the very same thing. So as of today, I'm mentoring about 1,500 entrepreneurs in all corners of the world who are acquiring businesses and then are building scale inside of those businesses by working on them rather than in them. And for me, this all came from kind of my heart. And what I decided I was going to do was to solve what I see as one of the major challenges in the small business world today. And if you look at the market statistics, there 6 million Americans last year went to start a brand new company. And the statistics from your own book, Michael, 96% of them will fail. They triggered that entrepreneurial seizure. Yet in America today, there are more than 2.4 million small businesses for sale, and only 1 in 13 is actually going to sell over the next 12 months. So I'm arming and empowering an army of new deal makers to not only acquire those small businesses, but then scale them, improve them. It's really to kind of put a dent in the buying and selling marketplace for small businesses all around the world, because only 1 in 13 small businesses will actually sell. So by partnering those entrepreneurs together with those selling businesses, and then having the seller transfer the ownership to that new entrepreneur who can then take it to the absolute next level. And I would say I'm probably halfway through a 25-year mission to make this happen. And it all started, Michael, in 2008 when I first read the E-Myth. I just developed this itch, and I'm scratching it every single day.
Well, I'm thrilled that you're scratching that itch every single day. And I'm thrilled that we had a conversation that we had where you told me that you'd read the E-Myth Revisited 20 times. And that exceeds the number of anybody I've ever spoken to. And most people I speak to have read it once, but it's had an absolutely impossibly severe impact on their consciousness. And so I am so thrilled that we're here speaking to each other, and thrilled that through you, what I've begun to do is having the kind of impact that each of you are speaking about to countless, 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 countless others. And so you might say we're creating a universe of our own, and that universe of our own is altering the consciousness of every single person we touch to one degree or another degree. Because every single one of us also know that everyone doesn't get it. Everyone doesn't do it. Everyone doesn't understand it. Everyone doesn't feel it. But they can't help but somewhat. And so it's also true that somebody will come to me 10 years after they've heard me speak, and they'll come in and say, Gerber, you finally got through to me. And that's so important for each and every one of us, each and every one of us, because we're all systems thinkers. But understanding, as Brian said early on, and as Roger just spoke about, the consciousness of our people, the consciousness of the people we're touching, the internalization of this point of view, this perspective expands their awareness immensely. And in the process, they don't look upon technology as something to replace themselves. They look at technology as a way to expand themselves, the human self, the creator within, the imagineer within, the designer within. That human being is the one we long to keep present, every single one of us in everything we do. I know that. I hear it in you. And Carl, thank you very, very much for sharing that, because we've got a lot of work to do together. We all do. So thank you, Carl.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So let's go on to Brad Korn, who's just actually beginning the transformation of his enterprise. Over these past 25 years, Brad?
Yes.
You've been applying the E-Myth as you've been working on your real estate agent business in order to expand your ability to transform the business you operate while transforming the outcome that you produce. So Brad, share with everybody what you've done, what you're doing, and why you took on the book, The E-Myth Real Estate Agent, Why Most Real Estate Agents Don't Work, and what the hell to do about it.
Yeah. Well, and it's an ongoing problem in the industry, which is what led me to you eventually, besides another incident, which I'm sure we'll talk about plenty of. But I will tell you, Michael, first of all, I feel a little guilty here because I feel like I get more gifts on your birthday than you get gifts. So you keep having birthdays because I am growing. And like you said, it's just beginning. And all I've done at this point in the last 29 years is survive in an industry that doesn't teach E-Myth principles. You know, I kind of go back to, that was the first book I read cover to cover. And I'm catching up because I've read E-Myth Revisited 3 times since we started reading or writing this book together. So I'm on number 4 now. I've read it 4 times. And I do believe in reading a book 10, 12 times just till it's ingrained. The E-Myth Revisited and E-Myth books were so simply written. It just made sense to me. And a couple of things that really stick out to me was the 3-legged stool. These are the core things that really helped me implement the E-Myth principles. The 3-legged stool: lead capture, lead conversion, and then the client fulfillment system. The 3 most critical pieces of any business. And in real estate, lead capture, lead conversion is what leads to needing a client fulfillment system. And I think I've mentioned it before, you know, the client fulfillment system, when somebody refers another client to us to buy or sell real estate, they've told them about this wonderful experience. There's no way to duplicate it in this industry because everybody's just winging it every single day. And what I got out of the book more than anything was the example of McDonald's. It's a system. Doesn't matter if 10 buses roll into McDonald's or if there's one person standing there. You get your burgers at the same time every time, and you don't just wing it. Like, you don't throw down twice as many patties because 10 buses showed up. It won't work. So I systematized, and I was so mad at the industry because I had 3 little girls I was supporting on a commission-only job and had seen so many people get out of real estate. 60 to 80% of people will get out of real estate after 3 years to 5 years because they just can't sustain it. So I created the systems to create a predictable result. And that started clear back at the capture. A couple of things, couple of the other E-Myth principles. If your business isn't growing, it's dying. Gosh, how many times have I heard you say that? I wake up in the middle of the night sometimes and I can hear Michael Gerber. If your business isn't growing, it's dying. Working it. It's always there. But what that meant to me as a business.
Can you imagine how terrible that would be, waking up in the middle of the night and listening to Michael Gerber? I mean, you can imagine. Just imagine. Yes. Brad, I want you to share something very, very critical. I want everybody here to know that Brad's system produces 100 homes a year from the very beginning of his perfection of that system. 100 homes a year, again and again and again and again. But what's so absolutely brilliant about it, it's not just the 100 homes a year. It's that it does it. Brad doesn't. And by saying it does it, when Brad's wife suffered a terrible medical emergency, Brad, share that.
Well, so it was March 2015. My wife was in a car accident. It was a head-on collision. She survived the accident, so that was the good part of the story. However, it took her off her feet for 14 weeks, and she was on crutches. Well, what happened after the 14 weeks? She completely recovered, and nothing bad ever happens to me. I really thought I was going to write the first book on something bad doesn't have to happen to you to write a really good book, you know? And no, it didn't happen. I had to have something bad happen. So what happened on June 23rd, which is in 3 days, the anniversary of Sonia laying in bed, breathing, sleeping, you know, she had had trouble sleeping for quite a while. She was finally sleeping, snoring away. Well, about 10 a.m. on June 23rd, I thought, okay, she's been sleeping for a long time now. I need to wake her up. And she didn't respond. And to kind of make this long story a little shorter, we called 911. On the way to the hospital, they lost her for a total of about 8 minutes. 8 minutes without oxygen to your brain keeps your body, the oxygen can get to your brain, but it doesn't get to our personality, which is the outside part of the brain. And when somebody talks about somebody becoming a vegetable, that's what happened to Sonia. So her body was working, her body was functioning, but Sonia was not there. I did what I've been taught by the best leaders in the world, go get the best people to learn from. So I found the best doctors to help her get out of this brain injury. If anybody could ever do it, it's her with the best doctors. So I transported her 3 hours away from Kansas City to Lincoln, Nebraska. Now understand that my sole income, she worked with me. We were partners. We had 2 other people on our team, an assistant and somebody to help us show houses. With those 2 ladies, I left for Lincoln, Nebraska, took Sonia there for 5 months while she was in a coma. And I sat by her side because her body was functioning. It wasn't something that I could leave. The nurses could not be there 24/7. And I didn't know when she was going to wake up. And I knew she might wake up. We're going to make this happen. While I was in Lincoln, Nebraska for 5 months with 2 people who had only been with me less than a year, we sold 97 homes. Now, to me, I implemented the E-Myth 19 years earlier. So to me, 100 homes a year was my norm. I mean, I've got this thing on autopilot and I'm doing all kinds of, I consider myself a successful, lazy realtor. I do all kinds of fun stuff. And I go to football games and baseball games. I travel with my kids, never miss anything with my children, selling 100 homes a year. While we were in Lincoln, Nebraska, or while I was there for 5 months, I realized when it got down to November 4th of 2015, we finally hit the point where Sonia was not coming back. And we had to make the hardest decision in the world. And that was that she was not going to enjoy life, whatever it would be like that. So we had to let her go. And it was February of 2016 when I looked up on my bookshelf and I saw the E-Myth sitting there. And all the people I've learned from and all the real estate books that I've applied all these systems, it was really already applied. The E-Myth gave that system to me. I didn't even realize, Michael, that 97 homes with me being gone for 5 months, realizing I never once thought about how my house was going to get paid or my cars were going to get paid or anything on a commission-only business. But because of those systems in my database of feeding it every day, communicating with it, and delivering great service, those systems ran while I was gone. And my team somehow pulled off 97 sales. Not somehow, the system pulled off 97 sales because these girls had only been with us a year. So when I got back and I just called you just to thank you for giving me the 5 months with my wife. And I never even thought you'd get the message. But you said to me, Brad, 97 homes is a big deal. It's a big deal. And I was like, well, I mean, it is, but not really in my world. So that's how it led to the book. The systems allowed me to be with my wife, not get sucked from comfortable life level to uncomfortable and have to worry about everything. I was already above comfortable, living a great life and great business, and it sucked me down to comfortable while I went through that. Now I'm able to take 100 agents to sell 100 homes and help them help 100 agents. So we have 10,000 agents selling 100 homes, and it's all for the good of the real estate industry because they can deliver a great service to something that should be fun. Buying a house happens once every 5 to 7 years. It should be the most fun thing you do. It's the largest cost item. It's the largest expense that somebody has. It should be a total blast. And that's what I'm here to do, is to bring the industry back to raising that bar and delivering incredible service and letting the agents have a great business where they can sell 100 homes a year easily. Simply, I should say.
So Brad, I wanted everybody who's with us today to hear that story. Simply because it's such a moving story and it's a true story. It's a real story. And it enabled you to live in a way that people rarely have an opportunity to do, to give yourself to your wife during those 5 months. That's miraculous. So I just needed to share that because, in fact, that's what Carl is here to do. That's what Ivan's here to do. That's what Roger is here to do. That's what Brian is here to do. That's what I am here to do. That's what Luz Delia is here to do. And to increase the consciousness and awareness of people on the planet to the degree that they wake up like Walt Disney did every single morning to say, no, not like that. Tell me something I haven't heard before. Show me something I haven't done before. Speak to me about something I haven't thought before, so that we can, in fact, deliver that continuously through this improbable enterprise, which started out as Disneyland, a completely different world than anything anybody has ever experienced before. So what does it require for each and every single one of us to literally create our own Disneyland, to create our own expression of imagination, of creativity, of internal wisdom, of human consciousness, not mechanical consciousness, but human consciousness, exemplified by the great machines we create that liberates us to create more and more and more and more. And gentlemen, and my beloved wife, Luz Delia, I'm just so thrilled that you've come here to join us today. And I'm so thrilled because in my mind, I know that each and every single one of you, like every single person I have touched over all these now close to 50 years doing this work we do, every single one of them started exactly as I did, all alone, on my own, not even knowing where I was going, and discovering in the process a world I never knew, I never understood, I never truly related with or to, the world that's called business, called small business, called doing it, busy, without a consciousness at all present to where I'm about to go. And so every single one of you who have gone someplace that was imponderable at the start of it, literally, Roger, Ivan, Brad, Carl, literally impossible and imponderable at the very outset. You could never, ever, ever have done what you've each done had you not started literally with a blank piece of paper and beginner's mind and the inspiration that you were born with to seek something beyond yourself, which Roger you've done, which Ivan you've done, which Carl you've done, which Brad you've done, and with Brian, who's not with us right now, has done and is doing every single day. I also want to say to you how so critical partnership is. And when I speak about partnership, I'm speaking about my lovely, beautiful, absolutely stunning wife, Luz Delia, who I couldn't get up in the morning without, because she infuses my mind and my imagination as she does her breathing in the morning, as she goes into her meditation in the morning, as she rediscovers her vitality, her life, her purpose, her meaning every single morning. And she looks exactly like that every single morning of every single day. Can you imagine every single one of you? Can you possibly imagine how that spirit, that aliveness brings forth my spirit, my aliveness, and thrills me to go beyond this poor body of mine at 83, who's been beat up and abused by me every single day of every single week of every single year for 83 freaking years, to discover right now at 83 that, oh my God, I have to learn how to breathe. Hear me, I have to learn how to breathe. Does that sound stupid to any of you? How to learn how to freaking breathe? My body's been doing that, however it's been doing that for 83 years. But I sort of describe this in a way that is incomprehensible to me. I never realized I had to participate in that breathing. So I'm sharing with every single one of you, I've just become engaged in the conversation about Qigong, called Qigong, called learning how to breathe. And so learning how to breathe is a critical part of awakening the entrepreneur within. Every single one of you. Now, I haven't spoken about this to Ivan. I haven't spoken to this about Roger. I haven't spoken to this about Carl. I haven't spoken with this to Brad. I haven't spoken to this with Rob, who's our producer. I haven't spoken about this at all with anyone. And I've resisted speaking about it with my lovely dear wife, who's been telling me all this time we've been together, breathe, Michael, breathe, Michael. No, this way, Michael, not that way, Michael. You hear me? Do you all hear me? Think about it. To breathe. To breathe. Such an exquisite thing to learn. So here I am at 83, beginning to learn how to breathe. And that breath, I'm going to breathe through you and every single one of you to awaken the entrepreneur within, to rewrite the Declaration of Independence for every single awakening entrepreneur, with every single small business owner, to show you that it is immensely personal, this process we each and every single one of us must go through. The process of awakening the entrepreneur within. It's a step by step by step by step process. I've spoken to you about this, but never, never, never to the degree I need to. Every single week, there's a step in the process I call the Eightfold Path. And in that Eightfold Path, the dream, the vision, the purpose, and the mission are a year-long, 52-week system that will inspire you to see the world and yourself within it. Or I might say, to see yourself and the world within it in a way you never have before. I'm inviting every single one of you to join us. All you must do is go to michaelegerbercompanies.com, michaelegerbercompanies.com, and click on the Radical You and just begin it. Now hear me, this is how absurd this is. Absolutely, ridiculously absurd. Our commitment, Luz Delia's and mine, was to make certain we could inspire, spark, do whatever it took to awaken the entrepreneur in every single human being on the planet. No matter what you do, no matter who you are, no matter what you think, no matter why you think it, no matter what your financial circumstances are, no matter what you know, no matter what you don't know, no matter all of the reasons people tell me, yes, but, I can't, Michael, not right now, Michael, et cetera, and so forth. And we have bridged that entire gap by saying to every single one of you, now you can. And the first step is to truly awaken the entrepreneur within. Join us in Radical You. Join us in Radical You by going to michaelegerbercompanies.com. You'll see it there. You'll see it on the website. Just click on and get started. And here's my commitment to you. 52 weeks a year, 52 sessions. The first portion to discover the dreamer. The second to discover the thinker. The third to discover the storyteller. The fourth to discover the leader. The dreamer, the thinker, the storyteller, the leader. The dreamer has a dream, the thinker has a vision, the storyteller has a purpose, and the leader has a mission. Those four personalities in you comprise the true entrepreneur with everyone we've been speaking to today. The dreamer, the thinker, the storyteller, the leader. We're going to inspire you, teach you, motivate you, train you, nag you, do every single thing we can do for an entire year. 52 weeks a year. It has never been done before. Nowhere, anywhere, ever before. Because we're going to approach you personally by touching you with everything we've learned over these past 50 years. Now hear me. This is such a critical part of this. Because everybody always comes to money. But Michael, what's that going to cost? But Michael, et cetera. This is really important to you, so take this in. Every single one of you get to join us in the dreaming room in the first year of Radical You by making a commitment, a financial commitment of $479.40 one time. All you do is join us for $479.40, and then we teach you, train you, coach you, nag you, inspire you for 52 consecutive weeks. Session 1, Session 2, Session 3, Session 4, for 52 weeks. So you wake up at the end of that year, those 52 weeks, an inspired new entrepreneur. And then we're going to take you to year 2. Should you be ready for it? And then year 3, should you be ready for it? And that's the beauty of this, ladies and gentlemen. Every single one of you can afford it. But not only that, every single one of you can do it. Well, it does you. We couldn't do that. We could not do that. We could not have created Radical You without the kind of people you see here with me today, you've listened to here today. We could never do it. We could never imagine doing it if we hadn't had and developed the experience doing this with now over 100,000 eMyth clients over the past close to 50 years. Think about that. All that time with over 100,000 small business clients in every vertical market under the sun, every single kind of business you can think about. Just like these folks here, these brilliant, impassioned people you've just listened to, heard, and they could go on and on and on and speak about this forever. I guarantee you they could, and they would. Think about it. What every single one of those people have learned to do, you're going to be able to learn how to do. To take it personally, to pursue your impersonal dream, to pursue your impersonal vision, to pursue your impersonal purpose, and to pursue your impersonal mission. I can speak more about that, but I'm not going to, because I'm freaking 83 and I choose not to. So I want to thank all of you for coming here, for being here, for joining us. Go to michaelegerbercompanies.com, click on Radical You, and let's get started, all of us together on my 83rd birthday, to make this miracle begin to happen in a way it's never, ever, ever, ever possibly happened before. Roger, thank you. Ivan, thank you. Carl, thank you. Brad, thank you. Rob, thank you. Liz Delia, my dearest of dears, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you all. Come see me. Don't be strangers. My wife says to me, Michael, you talk to everybody. And hear me, that's what I'm here to do, to talk to everybody, to enroll you in Radical You, so we can rewrite the Declaration of Independence for every single small business owner worldwide, and every single underemployed person, and every single unemployed person, and every single self-employed person, and for every veteran returning and retiring, for anybody and everybody on the planet. It's now possible for every single one of you to do what you have before this point in time deemed to be impossible. In fact, most people have made it impossible for you. But you can see when we talk to Roger Hamilton, when we talk to Carl Allen, when we talk to Ivan Meisner, when we talk to Brad Korn, it is possible for every single one of you, but we're going to make it easy by walking you down the eightfold path, which is the system of imagination and enterprise in a way that has never been available, as simply and as directly and as inexpensively as possible, online with Radical You, with we and us and all of us leading you, being with you, bringing your consciousness to bear on transforming the state of economic development worldwide. We can do that. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you all soon.